Something big is brewing for the Los Angeles Lakers as multiple new reports have dropped revealing Rob Pelinka's master plan. We're going to break down exactly what these reports entail and discuss what it means going forward as the Lakers are preparing for some very interesting moves. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, if you're part of the 90% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. If you're enjoying the multiple videos a day and you want to stay up to date with all the latest Lakers news, this is the place to be, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to go over today. Now, obviously, the All-Star break is still upon us. The All-Star weekend is officially over. It was a mediocre one, but the Lakers play on Wednesday against the Hornets, I believe it is. And also, we have finally, hopefully, some new updates coming out surrounding Jackson Hayes and the health of everybody there. But we're going to take a step back today and kind of go over some new reports that have dropped surrounding the Lakers trade plans. Now, obviously, their initial plan was to trade for Mark Williams. They had the trade. It didn't go through, but at the time of the trade, that was their center of the future. That's who they gave up assets for, whether it be Dalton, Knecht, or first-round pick. But some new reports have dropped revealing now what the subsequent plan is for Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers. And let's dive into it here. And you can see his stats a little bit, but there's a bunch of different things. So Evan Sitter dropped two names to continue to be mentioned in league circles as potential Lakers center trade targets this summer are Myles Turner and Nic Claxton. Turner can be acquired via sign and trade if they overwhelm the Pacers with an offer. The Nets have been open to moving Claxton for months. And this is, of course, from last week. And the reason I bring it up now is because it is very crucial now that the Mark Williams trade is officially nixed. I made a video on that yesterday or a couple nights ago. Adam Silver came out All-Star Weekend and basically said that the Mark Williams trade is not going to happen. The Lakers are not going to be getting him. Dalton Knecht is going to stay with the Lakers. All these different things. And it starts now to make you think what their plan will be going forward. Because two of the targets that were on the Lakers watch this trade deadline and even the offseason and all these different things were Myles Turner and Nic Claxton. Specifically, Nic Claxton as the trade deadline was winding down. And again, they went with Mark Williams because they figured he was, younger. He was going to be their cornerstone center for the future. LeBron was excited about it. Luka was excited about it. But now that the trade got nixed, you still have the assets from that deal. And these assets are going to be very critical going forward because, like I mentioned in previous videos, you now have Dalton Knecht, which you can use as a trade piece, especially if he has a good finish this season. You have your 2031 unprotected first-round pick that you used in the Mark Williams trade that, of course, didn't go through. And you have your 2030 pick swap. That's enough to get most of the centers that are available via trade. And this report goes to show that the Lakers are going to be making a huge move in this offseason for a center. Now, we're going to dive into both of them, but it is very interesting. It says here, the Lakers have a sizable hole at the center position after essentially swapping superstar big man for AD, of course, for Luka Doncic. Los Angeles then signed veteran center Alex Len from the buyout market on Tuesday, but it won't be able to truly address this positional deficiency until the offseason. And according to Evan Sitter, people around the NBA say the team will have two targets via the trade market, Myles Turner and Nic Claxton. And this is very interesting because give some backstory here. So we know that the Lakers have been linked to Myles Turner. He would be a perfect fit alongside, we said LeBron and AD, but it would also be a perfect fit alongside Luka and AD. Having a center that can shoot the ball as well as play good defense and be, of course, a very solid and capable rebounder. It's interesting. He's 6'11", 250 pounds. It's an excellent rim protector and a reliable three-point shooter. He will be a free agent this summer. Claxton isn't a three-point shooter, but he's a strong rebounder and shot blocker as well as a lob threat, which is something that Doncic would love to have. He's averaging 10, 7, and 1.4 blocks a game. Both Turner and Claxton will be expensive for the Lakers. Turner could command as much as $30 million a year in free agency, while Claxton is set to earn $25.5 million next season. And this is going to be interesting because, again, Myles Turner is a free agent, whereas Nic Claxton is of course, you'd have to trade for him. However, regarding, of course, the salary and the Lakers the way they are, they could acquire Myles Turner via a sign and trade. Now, this is super intriguing because we'll focus on Myles Turner for a second before getting into Nic Claxton, because obviously Nic Claxton I think is the most realistic option here. But when you're talking about being available for a sign and trade, Myles Turner would have been the perfect fit for LeBron and AD. But again, he would be a great fit for Luka and LeBron as well, because like the article mentioned, having someone who can be very effective around the rim. He's 6'11", he can help guard the big guys. That's why they got Alex Len this season, is not really for his offense and not really for his defense as well, but just to have a big body out there that can help Jackson Hayes. If you bring in Myles Turner to be your starting center, he's shooting 40% from three at 5 attempts a game. He's playing really good defense. He's a solid rebounder. And then you have an energy guy like Jackson Hayes getting ready to come off the bench. That would make this team 10 times deeper. And it's why he would be such a good fit. And it's why people were talking about Myles Turner well before, any of even the Luka Doncic trade. Now, once Luka is here, it makes even more sense now to go for Myles Turner. And the thing is, he is going to command a lot of money, probably $30 million a year. Now, with sign and trade, you can make it work, but it's interesting. And I'm very curious now. Let me know down below, who would you prefer if you're the Lakers? Nic Claxton in the offseason or Myles Turner. Because that's going to be their biggest thing right now, is figuring out who they want to pursue in the offseason. Of course, they're going to be focusing on this season, focus on hopefully addressing their final buyout spot. They still have one more spot available, assuming they waive Cam Reddish. They have enough money to get a veteran minimum guy, whether that be a guy like Bismack Biyombo. It's still up in the air. But having a guy like Myles Turner on the Lakers would be fantastic. Now, shifting your focus a little bit to Nic Claxton, a guy that the Lakers have been rumored in over and over and over, and even since the Luka Doncic trade, and even since the trade deadline, they still have been. He would be a fantastic fit. Now, he's averaging 10 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 1.4 blocks. He is under contract as well for a couple more years, and he's making $25.5 million or $25.35 million next season. If the Purple and Gold can find a way to afford either of them within the NBA's very restrictive salary cap while keeping their core together, going after either of them would be well worth it. Now, you have to give up some assets here. You would assume Dalton Knecht would be involved in the deal. You'd probably assume a first-round pick would be involved in the deal. And that then begs the question, is Nic Claxton worth a similar package to Mark Williams? Because that's probably what he's going to command. Now, obviously, Mark Williams had the higher upside. Nic Claxton, on the other hand, has been a more reliable starter in this league, has been healthier, and is around the same age, a little bit younger. So you start to think about now how Nic Claxton would fit. Again, he'd be very different from Myles Turner. He doesn't shoot the three ball, but he's a very solid rebounder, a very solid shot blocker, and he'd be the pick and roll player that we know Luka Doncic went up to Rob Pelinka and said that they desperately need and that he desperately wants. Because right now we've seen already the connection between Jackson Hayes and Luka Doncic. If you can start to transition that into your next big man, especially Nic Claxton, a guy who's under contract, can be kind of the cornerstone center to pair with Luka Doncic for the foreseeable future. Because that's something you have to keep in mind here. Whether or not LeBron stays with LA, picks up his player option next year, all these different things, Luka Doncic is the future of your franchise. He's the face of your franchise. So you're going to need to get a center that works well with him, especially if you're giving up your remaining assets for the foreseeable future and to be able to contend. Now, Mark Williams made a ton of sense. Nic Claxton does make a ton of sense as well. And Myles Turner would make a ton of sense on the offensive end and the defensive end. I mean, Myles Turner is averaging more blocks a game. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Lakers actually decide to do in the offseason. But reports are starting to swirl. Reports are starting to come out. We're seeing fans of other teams. You can see here, I wonder if it's possible to move any of our guys minus Reaves to get an additional first-round pick. Probably not possible. But I think if we get 2 firsts, there would be a slim chance we try to get Kessler. With 1, it seems impossible. We'll have future videos on that as well. I mean, Walker Kessler is another interesting name to go over. We'll cover that in a future video, but he is another great center that the Lakers were heavily linked to. We know this trade deadline, they were linked to Walker Kessler. They were linked to Nic Claxton. They ultimately surprised everyone, went with Mark Williams, and then failed the physical. So it's going to be interesting. You can see this here. Lakers fans will give you Claxton this summer for that same package. So it'll be interesting to see what Brooklyn decides to do if the Lakers approach them with a package similar to that, because he still is under contract and has some years left. But one quick note before we wrap up. They play Charlotte on Wednesday, back-to-back with Portland. Should win both of those games. And they have a very interesting game on February 22nd against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. And hopefully by then, the Lakers center will be healthy. Alex Len will hopefully get some more practice reps and get his feet under himself. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We're going to keep you updated with all the latest Lakers news. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Cheers.